Hello everyone, you're welcome to today's class. So in this class, we'll move to another topic, and that topic is fraction. So under fraction, we'll be looking at the following objectives. So we're going to be looking at the meaning of fractions and the types of fraction that we have. We look at proper, improper fraction, and mixed number. Then we look at how to change improper fractions to mixed numbers and vice versa. This is how we can take from mixed number back to what? Improper fractions. Then we look at equivalent fractions. After that, we look at simplifying fractions. So these are the objectives we want to cover in this video. So what I would advise you now is just for you to keep calm and avoid anything that can distract you, that can get the maximum benefit from this video. So when we talk about fraction, you might have come across it in your previous classes. Maybe you were in primary school or wherever. So fractions is talking about parts of a whole. When you have a whole means that single something that is like for example, now this is a marker, is one marker, that is a whole. So part of this marker is the cover, right? And part of it is the what? Is the bottom here, this part which I can remove. So part of a whole is what we call what? Fraction. Let's say for instance, if we have a circle like this, we have this circle, and if this circle is divided into some parts, let's assume we divide it into 4. So we have divided this circle into 4 sectors. This is sector, a sector, a sector. So if I should pick a sector out here, this sector, if I should pick it out, what is the fraction of this sector shaded here? So is how many parts have I divided this to? I have divided it into 4. So out of 4, I've shaded what? That is 1 out of what? 4. Hope I'm with you. I've shaded 1 out of the 4 parts that this whole has been divided what? Into. So that is what we refer to as fraction. Now, when we now talk about fraction as it's like when you are writing, you can see that something is written on something. 1 is written on 4 here. So the one at the top is called numerator. While the one at the bottom is called what? Denominator. Now, let me explain some things about this denominator here. The denominator is always the number of parts that the whole is being divided into. So if this is divided into 8, what will be the denominator? It will be what? 8. So if I should write 2 divided by 5, so which means that the whole, this is a fraction, the whole of this fraction is being divided into how many? 5. And 2 is taken out of the 5. Hope I'm making sense. So we have the 5 oranges. And 2 is given to Ade. So if it's going to ask you, what is the fraction of the oranges given to Ade? It will be 2 out of what? How many? 5. I believe I'm making sense. So that's what refers to as fraction. That's the meaning of fraction. So we now move to types of fractions. So when we talk about types of fractions, types of fractions, there are just 2. It's not something that is hard. There are 2 types of fractions. The first one is common fractions. And the second one is what? Decimal fractions. Right? So common fractions are these ones. This is common fraction. That is when you write something number on top of another number. That is common fraction. Decimal fractions simply refers to as what? Decimal. So which means when you see decimal, it still refers as what? Decimal fractions. Still the same thing. Hope that is clear. So we now move to proper, improper, and mixed number. So that's the next thing we're going to look at. How this is very clear to you. Proper fractions. Let's start with proper fractions. Proper fractions are fractions whose numerator is less than the denominator. It's like when we say something is proper, it means that it is appropriate. It is appropriate for us to put something small on top of something big. But it's not proper for us to put something big on top of something. Let's say, for instance, putting a refrigerator on top of DVD player. what do you think that will happen to that DVD player? It will what? It will scatter, because the refrigerator is bigger, is heavier than what? DVD player. Is that clear? But if you put DVD player on top of what refrigerator, nothing will happen to the refrigerator. Is that clear? So that it is proper. So when you have, if the numerator is less than the denominator, then we will say that such a fraction is a proper fraction. I believe that is clear to you. So example of that, I'm not going to hide everything here. So an example of that is when you have 2 over 5, 1 over 2, 3 over 4. These are examples of proper fraction, because the numerator is less than the denominator. I hope this is very clear to you. Right. So then we have what we call improper fraction. Improper fraction. Improper fractions. So improper fractions are fractions whose numerator is greater than the denominator. So do you understand? Putting a refrigerator on top of DVD player. So what will happen? It is improper. So it will scatter. So when you now have a larger number on top of smaller number, that's when you refer to it as what? Improper fraction. I hope this is clear. So example is just like when you have 5 over 2 now. Because if 5 is at top and 2 is at the bottom. So in that case, this is improper fraction. Then we have 3 over 2, 4 over 3, and then so on and so forth. That is an improper fraction. Then the last one, which is what? Mixed fraction, mixed number. So mixed number here is telling us that we have a whole number and a proper fraction. A whole number and a proper fraction. Just like when you have 2 whole number, 3 whole over 5. This is a whole number, this 2 is a whole number, and this is a proper fraction. Or you have 1 whole number, 1 whole over 2. All these one are what? Mixed number. I hope this is very clear. Proper fractions, improper fractions are what? Mixed what? Numbers. So that is that on this. Now the next stage is now for us to look at how do we move from this place to this place and this one from that. Changing improper fractions to mixed numbers. So how do we do that? That's what we want to learn here. So examples, change the following fractions into mixed numbers. We have 12 divided by 7, 6 divided by 5. You can see this one is improper, 12 over 7 is also what? Improper. How do we do that? Solution. So the first one, we have 12 divided by what? 7. So what we are going to do is this. We are going to use 7 to divide 12. That is 12 divided by 7, right? Am I with you? 12 divided by 7. Whatever we have left, 12 divided by 7 gives us 1. 12 divided by 7 gives us what? 1. Remainder what? That is 12 minus 7. It's going to remain what? 5. Divided by what? The denominator itself, which is what? 7. I hope it's clear. So let me repeat again. So you are going to use 7 to divide 12, which will give us what? 1. So what are we going to have as a remainder? That is 5 all over 7. So the second one, which is 2, we have 6 divided by 5. 6 over 5. That is 5 in 6. How many 5 can we say in 6? That is what? 1 as well. Remainder what? It's going to remain 1 all over what? All over 5. So that is how to change improper fraction to what? To mixed number. So the next one is how to change mixed number to what? Improper fraction. Exactly. So that's what we're going to look at in the next example. Changing mixed numbers to improper fractions. Just the opposite of what you just finished now. So change the following fractions to improper fractions. The first one we have 6 whole number, 3 all over 5. So this is what you're going to do. It's very straightforward. The whole number, you use it to multiply the denominator. That means 6 multiplied by the denominator, which is what? 5. Close it in brackets, plus the numerator, which is what? 3. Everything divided by the denominator, which is what? 5. So that means we're going to have 6 times 5, that is 30 plus 3 divided by what? 5. So this gives us 33 all over what? 5. You can see that 33 is more than 5. So this is improper fraction rather. Is that clear? So let's look at the second one. We're going to follow the same rule, the same process. So we have 3 whole number, 3 over 4. So that means we're going to have 3 multiplied by the denominator, which is what? 4. Put it in bracket. Plus numerator, which is what? 3. Plus 3. Divided by the denominator, which is what? 4. So 3 times 4 equals what? 12 plus 3 divided by what? 4. That is what? 15 divided by what? 4. That is the answer. I hope this is very clear. So we'll be able to talk about the first one, second one, third one, fourth one. So they will now move to equivalent fractions. I believe this is very clear to you. Alright? Equivalent fractions is the next one. So when we talk about equivalent fractions, we are talking about fractions that are equal in values. If you have this fraction, must be equal to this fraction. So how do we arrive at that? Let's look at this scenario. We have this circle. We have another similar circle. The same thing of the same size, right? We have this, we have that. Now, I divided this into 2, but I divided this into what? Into 4. Or let me divide it into 8. This is divided into 8, right? If one of these, this is a fraction of this, right? Which is what? 1 out of how many divisions do we have? Have I divided this circle into 2? That is, and I've now shaded what? 1 out of what? 2. Am I with you? I've shaded 1 out of 2. Here, I've shaded these parts. Now, the question is that this has been divided into how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is 8. And I've shaded how many? 1, 2, 3, 4. I shaded 4. Am I with you? If you look at this diagram and this diagram, you notice that I've shaded the same portion. I've shaded what? The same portion. This is half. I've shaded this part. Look at this one that I've shaded also. So which means the shaded portion are what? The same. So we can conclude that 1 over 2 is equal to what? 4 over 8. This is what we refer to as equivalent fractions. So which means 1 over 2 is equivalent to what? 4 over 8. Hope that is clear. Good. So if that is the case, let's now move into the ways questions can fall. Let's look at examples on how we can tackle questions on equivalent fractions. Is that clear? First example here. So convert 3 over 7 into an equivalent fraction with denominator 63. So what does that mean? So it means that these 3 over 7 must be equal to a denominator of what? 63. So we are now looking for what the value of this numerator. So what will be the value of numerator? You can do it in 2 ways. You can do it how many ways? 2 ways. Firstly is this. Now this 7 has changed to 63. What do you think has happened to 7 to arrive at 63? So it's either going to be multiplication or division. It can be addition, it can be subtraction. Is that clear? So take note of that one first. So with the 7 has been multiplied by what? To get 63. So to get that, what you're going to do is 63 divided by what? 7. What will you get? When you divide 63 by 7, you get what? 9. So meaning that this 7 has been multiplied by what? 9 to get 63. So in that case, for there to be equality, whatever that is done to one side must also be done to the other side. So whatever that is done to the numerator must be done to what? The denominator. Since we have multiplied the denominator by 9, for there to be equality, we must also multiply what? 3 by what? 9. In that case, we then say 3 multiplied by 9, which will give us what? 27. So which means what we're going to have here is going to be what? 27. So we can then, therefore, 3 over 7 is equal to 27 over what? 63. That will be our answer. I hope this is clear. That is the first step. First method of doing it. So the other method is this. We have 3 over 7 equals to, we don't know the numerator, divided by 63. So what we're going to do, we will represent the numerator by a letter. So we use a letter of, let's say, x. So what we're going to do, we multiply. So when we cross multiply, that will be 7 multiplied by x, that gives 7x, equals to 3 multiplied by what? 63. Then we divide both sides by 7, divide both sides by what? 7. I hope I'm making sense. So this 7 cancels 7, x will then be equal to 7 here 1, 7 here what? 9. You can see we are still coming back to 63 divided by 7. Can you see that? So this gives what? 27. Therefore, we can conclude that 3 divided by 7 equals to what? 27 all over what? 63. That's the answer. You can see we have the same answer. So that's how to find the equivalent fraction of this. It could be numerator that you asked to find. You understand? Like it could be with numerator dash something. Is that clear? So let's look at another example that's quite different from this one. Example 2. Find the missing parts of these fractions. So we have the A part. Let's have a solution here. Solutions. We have A. We have 24 divided by what? 32 equals to 4 over dash. We don't know. So we want to look at what would be the value of this box here. So 24 divided by 32. You can see this one has reduced from 24 to what? To 4. What has happened is something is being done to this. So the same thing, we must use what has been used to divide 24 to get 4. That's what we're going to find out now. So the first thing is 24 divided by what? 4. That gives us what? 6. So which means 24 has been divided by 6 to get what? To get 4. This is supposed to be 36, sorry. This is supposed to be 36. Right. So that's supposed to be 36. So that means we're going to have 36 divided by what? 6, which will give us what? 6. So what will be here will be what? 6 then. Exactly. Therefore, we can then have 24 divided by 36 equals to 4 over what? 6. That will be the answer. Is that clear? So let's look at the B part. The B part, you can see that we have more than 2 fractions, unlike the case of this one. So we have the 4 fractions and 3 numbers are missing. So what we're going to do is very simple. You can see that one fraction is completed. You can see this is complete. Fraction 2 divided by 5. We have the value. We know the numerator. We also know the what? Denominator. So in that case, this is what we're going to use to find this, to find the rest. So we can, what I will just do now, we'll be picking them one by one to fill it. So which means I will start with 2 over 5 equals to dash over 10. Then the other one, 2 over 5 again, equals to 12 over what? Over dash. Then 2 over 5 again equals to what? Dash over what? 80. So we now work this out. So this has increased. What is something as multiplied by 5 to get 10? That is 2. So 2 times 2, this will give us what? 4. So in that case, we just say this is 4, or we just 10 divided by 5, which is equal to 2. So that means 2 times 2 is equal to 4. So this will be 4. So the same thing here. These 2 has turned to 12. So that means these are the multiplied by what? 6. So we also multiply by this one what? 6. So this will give us what? 30. Hope I'm making sense. So this is 5. This is 80. So 80 divided by what? 5. That is 1. Remainder 3. That is what? 16. So this has multiplied by 16 to get 80. So this will also be multiplied by 16, multiplied by 16. This will become what? 32. So our final answer will then be, so we can write it here. Our final answer, so our final answer will then be, the 10 dash over 10 will be 4 over 10, then equals to 12 over 30 equals to 2 over 5 equals to 32 over what? 80. So that is how to find that. So that is that on equivalent fraction. You see that either you multiply or what? You divide when you are finding equivalent what? Fraction. So just go through it again to learn it better. So the last part of this video is simplifying fractions, which I'm going to explain in details now. Simplifying fractions. When you're asked to simplify fraction, or you have to simplify anything in mathematics, you're asked to reduce it to its lowest term. You have to reduce it in such a way that there won't be anything that can divide anything again. That is, there's something you can do about it again. So that is what we mean by simplifying fraction. Simplifying fraction means that you reduce the fraction to its lowest form. That is, to a situation whereby there is nothing that can divide both the numerator and the denominator. So that is simplification of what? Fraction. Just like when you have 1 over 2. This fraction has been simplified already. There's nothing we can do again. We can't simplify it further, because there's nothing that can divide 1 and 2 directly again. But in the case of this, 4 divided by 6 here, so we can still simplify this further. That is, we can reduce it to its lowest term. So there's a number that can divide 4 and also divide 6. That is what? That is, this divided by 2 will give us 2. This divided by 2 will give us 3. So which means 4 divided by 6 is equal to 2 divided by what? 3. So we have reduced this fraction to its lowest form because we can't reduce this one further. I hope I'm making sense. So if that is the case, let's look at examples on how to simplify fractions. Examples now. Simplify these fractions. So that is, we are asked to reduce this to its lowest term. Sometimes question will say reduce this fraction to its lowest term. That's still saying the same thing. So what are we going to do now? Solution. Solution here. So that means we have 16 divided by 32. So the first thing, what can divide 16? 2. So 2 in 16, that gives 8. 2 in 32, that gives what? 16. What can go again? 2 can divide it. 2 here, 4. 2 here, 8. 4 can go. 4 here, 1. 4 here, what? 2. That is the answer. That's it. That's the first one. That's the first one. The second one, we have 52 divided by 78. So 52 divided by 2. 2 can go in both. Don't forget that we have done divisibility rules. All these will help you a lot here. We have not mastered those rules. Go and master them. Very, very important. So 52 divided by then 78 divided by what? 2. So this gives 2 in 5. That is 2. Remaining the 1, that is 6. 2 in 7. That is 3. Remaining the 1 in 18. That is what? 9. Now, look at this. 2 cannot divide both of them because 2 can divide this one, 2 cannot divide this one. Okay, can 3? 3 can divide 39. What about 26? Can 3 divide 26? So when you add, how do you know that 3 can divide it? When you add the digits together, if it gives you multiple of 3, it means 3 can divide it. So 2 plus 6 is 8. 8 is not a multiple of 3. Is that clear? So that means 3 cannot divide. So what can divide? So if you look at this, 26. 7 cannot divide. 5 cannot divide. The only number that can divide 26 here is 13. Can 13 divide 39? 13 can also divide. So in that case, we are going to have 26 divided by what? 13. Then 39 divided by what? 13. So 26 divided by 13 gives us, that is 2. And 39 divided by 13 gives what? 3. So that means the answer equals to 3. Look at this, 13 times 3, that is 939. Then 13 times 2, that is 26. Exactly. So that means we have reduced this to its lowest term of 2 to 3. So that is that on this video. We've been able to cover all the objectives of this video. So that is the end of this class. If you find this lecture video useful and helpful, please give us a big like, and then don't forget to subscribe if you have not. So, and make sure you put on your notification bell so that anytime I release videos like this, you'll be able to get notification of it. So thank you very much for your time. So bye, we'll meet in the next video.